are back. Yes.
Yes.
It is episode 60 of the Metal Roundtable. I am Metal Rob, and with me as always is the great
Carcass John.
Yeah, you didn't do the. How many is that? 60?
I did 6 and I went 0.
Okay, I missed that part. Man, we have got a great show today, kids. Great show today. But first, you got any quick shout outs you want to do?
I noticed my buddies from Interment, not the Swedish band, but the local Fort Worth band, after 30 years of brutal death metal, called it quits. So congrats for all the years of heavy metal and brutal. They were part of the Texas death metal scene for years and years. They're just great band, good guys, and I wish them the best. But that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I am going to shout out all the teachers getting ready to go back to school right now. Teachers and students, it's going to be a tough go. We know that. Don't know what we're in for. But school's looking different these days. But shout out to those guys. What's up, Isaiah? How are you, sir?
What's up, dude?
Good to see you again. Also, we reached a very miniature milestone today. Did you realize that we got our custom YouTube URL?
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's something that I would recognize all the time.
We have skyrocketed to 101 subscribers.
With a bullet. Yo.
I know, man.
Bullet in a blue sky.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll vamp for just a second. I think we...
Hey, by the way, the reason you got 100, if you go look at them, there's like 5 in there that are from me. I'm just saying.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, gee, way to stack the deck. What are you on?
Yeah. We'll take what we can get. Is our guest in the waiting room by any chance? Not yet. Okay. Well, so unscripted, unrehearsed. What do you want to talk about, big guy?
Hey, I tell you what, I did get a chance to travel this weekend, get to see some friends down in H-Town. You know, the music scene down there was just exploding, especially with metal and more metal. And anyway, it was nice to just kind of sit back and kick back with friends. A lot of the old guard for the South Texas death metal barbecue, and it was freaking awesome. And I got some killer comps. I always get a new education in music, you know, just when you think you've heard it all. You hear Tony Reed singing Court of the Crimson King, and it's just like an amazing experience. So anyway, other than that, thanks to Angry Rob and Nathan Salazar and to Charles Beneath the Remains Sepulveda for hanging out. And even though it was 87 degrees and 92% humidity at 9 o'clock at night. Welcome to Texas. But anyway, so we're vamping, right?
Oh my gosh, I forgot something very important.
Hey.
Well, okay.
The Prince of Darkness, or is that John?
JP
Perez?
Can help us with this. So joining us right now for episode 6 is the great John Perez from Doom Legends, Solitude, Aeturnus. How are you, kind sir?
Horrible. Thank you for asking, though.
Where are you horrible? You're good.
No, I'm great. I'm great. Thanks, man. Yeah, everything's good, man. Thanks. Everything working here. I guess that was pretty easy to get on here with you guys. Yeah. So
we're trying to make it easy for everybody.
My lighting is obviously not as well thought out. My lighting is not as well thought out as y'all's. I can see that.
Well, here, I'll adjust mine with the blinds. Watch. It's very technical around here.
There you go. I can open my blinds behind me. Maybe they'll get more.
It sort of befits you, John. The whole idea behind it.
Well, there's the light behind me. There it is. You know, maybe I can just block it out. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I like the halo effect. Yeah. That's cool.
Cool halo. Yeah, okay.
You're doing great. I love it. We've got a bit of a lag going on. So whenever you hear the question, we're just going to lay back and let you answer. So take as long as you need. Carcass, hit us, man.
Well, first of all, I bet John can read my shirt. I know you can, because you can never guess what the shirt says.
The challenge, JP, is that he always wears a shirt that Hang on. Oh, I've done this one. Funebrarum.
I'm a little stumped. I mean, a quick guess is funebrium. I mean, you could name yourself anything.
Did I get it right?
Funebrium. It could be a
funebrarum. Yes.
Okay, I think I've done that one before.
I think so.
Braum. Okay, braum, not brain. Okay, yeah.
No. Yeah. Hey, I think I know.
Don't know.
I think I know something until I get to talking to you at the shop, and then it's just like I just need to quit.
So I guess the part of the premise of the show, John, because you are a encyclopedia of music, both underground and, well, some popular. In fact, Rob and I were talking about it earlier about how sometimes when we walk into the shop, you're playing something, and without fail, I end up buying it because it's so cool or unusual. So how does one find new music that probably nobody else has heard of or thought about, and we want to give you a forum to sort of explain how you got your musical start. I mean, it's been a pretty bumpy road when you consider you went from Texas thrash legends, Rotting Corpse, to what you're doing now in Liquid Sound. So just take us through that and just give us how you appreciate music and how you get that out to your audience.
So I guess I'm going to take up the whole hour then, I guess.
Yes, you are. That's why we're here. We're here to listen to you. No one wants to listen to
us. Well, but I mean, that's a lot. I mean, wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a good question. That's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, I know a lot about music up to a point, you lose touch maybe sometimes with the current trends after a certain period, but, I don't know, man. I just was, I guess the question is, give us a little bit of story on you, but to keep it brief, or try to keep it brief. I've always been into music, like as far back as I can remember. I've been infatuated, obsessed. It's all I can think about. I love it when I read other musicians' interviews and they talk about, basically that, they don't really care about anything else but music. Hey, let's go to the park. Yeah, okay. I'd rather just listen to music. Or, hey, let's go to. Some people are just, set out for music, man, and that was me. I mean, it was always in my head as far back as I can remember. Really early age, I can remember hearing a lot of early music. Probably when I got to think about years here, so it's probably about 6, 7 years old, and then of course getting turned on to my parents' rock albums, which was the Beatles, the Stones, and Elvis Presley, and then just completely enamored with that. But I guess I was born with a little bit of a rebellious spirit, and so for me, the crazier and heavier and weirder and freakier music sounded, the better it was for me. So I was constantly seeking that out as a young kid, preteens and teens. So this is the 70s, mind you. I think we're all of a certain age, but so in the 70s, I was always looking for heavy music. I didn't know what heavy music was, really, but I was looking for it, and as time goes on, you just keep on eating up all the music you can eat up, and that led me to my biggest passions in the music genres, which is heavy metal and weirder psychedelic rock stuff. And so we all know that came about in the late 70s and early 80s, and we were all fortunate to be part of the explosion of the underground scene and watch it form. We were there for the big bang, I think, of metal, and as speaking about metal, because that's what we're doing here on the Metal Roundtable. But man, so yeah. Anyway, but that's my quick story. Just I guess it's probably a familiar story with a lot of people. They're obsessed with music and they follow the path. But for me, it really opened up in the early '80s when the kind of I was really wanting to hear was coming out. And we're talking early '80s, and so since then it was just full on, man. And the spirit and the drive and the passion you hear in the new sound of metal was just so overwhelmingly good for me. So on to a thrash metal band in '85, formed Rotting Corpse with Walt Treachler, and that was a good 2-3 years of just total mayhem. Hey man, we were 20 years old. We had 20-year-old energy and a lot of fuck you energy, in that band. I think from all of us, and I love that. I loved thrash metal at the time, but I think my time was limited for that genre, and I wanted to move on to music that I thought was more akin to the stuff I grew up with. which was only 5-6 years prior to that. But I thought, timeless heavy metal, like you guys have discussed before, Judas Priest, Sting, Class, Black Sabbath, anything Leo is as well too, Black Sabbath, heavy metal music, and so that's why I formed Solitude with that in mind, trying to create timeless heavy metal music. Transcendent genres, really. I mean, we can call it doom metal, and that's fine because it's pretty doomy. But for us and for me, it was just heavy metal. Did that for a while, 25 years, and never officially or formally declared it dead, but it's been inactive for a long time. But in between all that, did some other stuff too, man. I worked with the governor, Rick Perry, and his Puncher project the first 3 years. He did that. And of course, I've done my sound company off and on for 20 years. Since '96, I did the first record, and we're just about to drop a new record in a couple of months, if not sooner. So psychedelic rock, a little bit out of the realms of what we talk about, or what you guys talk about here. But yeah, so hopefully I didn't take the whole hour. Look, it's about 7 minutes. So I think that's good enough. The quick and short of it,
Yeah. So I got a question for you, JP. One of the things that I find hard to do these days is get people interested in new music. And one of the things that Carcass and I have talked about, we appreciate you for, not only your music and being just a hell of a good guy, is you have turned us on to some great stuff whenever we pop into the shop. And one of the things that I want to thank you personally for is I'm a champion of new music from legacy bands or whatever you want to call it. Like the new Judas Priest record is among their best. But the one that you turned me on to a year or so ago was the latest Uriah Heep stuff. So what's the challenge with turning people on to new music?
It's the same challenge it's been for. I've always tried to turn people on to music as long as I can remember, because I just always thought it was so great. And I thought, you need to hear this, and you don't get. Aren't you moved by it? It took me like 30, 40 years to realize not everybody is as moved on a deeper, profound level with music as people like myself and you guys are. And we know plenty of people like that, but the general public, you shouldn't expect them to be as music as you are. So sometimes you got to keep that in mind when you're trying to turn people on to music. They're maybe not as deeply attached to this kind of music, or for whatever reasons, and not a bad thing, that's just the way it is. Some people are built that way. Music is more background for their soundtrack of their lives, not their complete life. So the challenge is really just to, if you know what somebody likes, you just kind of shoot them something that you think is great. And you got to really, when I turn people on to music, it's usually my personal taste that dictate what I'm turning them on to. But I usually try to just go right out with a challenge and just say, there's a good chance you're going to hate this, that'd be fine if you did, but maybe at least you'll take note, But then also, maybe try to find something in a similar vein that they might like, and then move on. And I know, Rob, you're into classic heavy rock and stuff, and I probably played that Heat because, the lifelong Heat fan, I thought that the Outsider record they did was just unbelievably good, considering, how long they've been at this. And it's such a great and fresh sounding record that I thought, man, here's an old new thing, and that's mostly what I do, old new, new old, or whatever you say, new old. I'm a little disconnected with current and bands as it is, and I think it's just because you can't. It's just virtually impossible to stay on top of it and focus on it, and really give music the time and energy it deserves. And as a listener, man, it gets harder to do when you get older because you've heard it all before, and so you become more like a wine connoisseur, where you've heard all Merlot wines taste kind of the same, but there's subtle differences, and some are much better than others. Same thing with music, or metal music as well. So anyway, it's harder for me to get into new music as well. I mean, there's plenty of. When I say new music, new music to me is something I just haven't heard before. But new music could also mean like new, as in like 2020 bands. There's plenty of great bands out there doing newer music, And let's just talk metal. You know, doing metal, got a great scene around here. There's plenty of great young bands doing lots of great new metal music. I'm not as connected to it as much anymore. That's okay though, because that's what the younger generation's for. I'm here to spread historical relevance to the bands that we listen to, and try to match that up with some of the younger kids today, and they can see where some of their favorite metal bands may have gotten an influence from. And there's plenty of that to mine, you know. And most of the younger kids are receptive to older stuff, as I've seen it. They most all, you know, highly revere old metal stuff. And so anyway, kind of rambling on, but yeah, it's you just keep trying, you know, pick out something to turn on to somebody, and hopefully it works. And yes, it is a little harder to get into new music sometimes for many different reasons, and on many different levels, even for myself, you know.
Well, that's one of the things that kills me about classic rock radio, or radio that even plays hard rock, which is much harder to find. Well, if you're going to hear the Scorpions, you're going to hear Blackout, or something
if
from.
You're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you'll hear Blackout. That's exactly right. But the thing that I want to try to impress upon everybody is Uriah Heep still putting out relevant, outstanding music. Judas Priest still putting out relevant, outstanding music. The radio just simply won't play it. And we just had the release of a brand new Kansas album that is out of this world, and a brand new Deep Purple album that is out of this world. And Carcass turned me on to both of those. With the advent and expansion of the internet over the years, it's been easy to keep up with the bands that you love. But I wish that radio anywhere, satellite radio, I don't care what, just play the new Judas Priest, for crying out loud, the new Deep Purple, because it's wonderful, relevant music. And that's where I get passionate.
Think about it though. Think about the problems of that though. The problems of playing new music from bands like that, or anybody for that matter. Think about all the years behind you stacking up.
Right.
And all the classics that are expected to be played. You know, you got to play Crazy Train if you're going to be a commercial hard heavy metal rock station. You know, you got to play No One Like You if you're going to do that. You got to play some Metallica. You know, so you got to squeeze all that stuff in, and then you got to squeeze in the newer bands, and you got to squeeze in the lower of the big four bands. You know, try to squeeze a Testament or a Slayer song, and then what? You're going to try to squeeze a Heathen song in there, maybe. And there's only so much room on the air, you know, and there's so many bands that one of the problems is just the vast, enormous amount of music that is out there, and it's stacking up, man. We're 2020, so we got internet radio stations that are playing classic metal and classic thrash, and but God, man, they got to keep up with the last 10 years as well too, and that's a lot of stuff to stack up. And how do you pay attention to all that? So.
Yeah,
you know, you kind of, as a listener, you know, you find maybe your niche and you kind of roll with it. And for me personally, I tend to just try to focus on, I'm more about quality than quantity. You know, I don't really care if I hear every band that someone says is great, but that is how you hear bands. But at the same time, man, like I always say to people at the shop, it's like, man, this is like an old hard drive. Remember the Apple hard drive came out in 1982? I can only store so many files on here, man, before I've got to start deleting old files and making room for new ones. But so anyway, but I guess maybe that was a little comment on your question there.
Well, and let me just add to what you're saying, because
yes, Andrew, we need radio.
Because part of the reason why I love hanging out with you, and we used to do it more frequently before our lives became so enormously busy, but you are so obscure. I mean, I used to think that I had some obscure choices in music, John, but you take the cake, and if you can get me to actually like a band like Pest or Root or the like, then you're saying that's saying something, because that's a real walk the plank stretch for the average listener.
I know how to pitch it too.
But you have a certain ear for something that. And that, I think that's the other thing with your interaction with people that you know, you have an idea that they might actually like this. And believe it or not, I actually like those records.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember.
And you know, one thing I'll say too is, you know, after hearing Sorry, yeah, we are on a lag here, as I can see. But I'm sorry, John, to interrupt you, but I'm just saying, I mean, uh, I think after listening to a certain genre of music for so many years, and if you're still into it, you tend to be able to pick apart the bands that stick out, for whatever, for better or for worse. You can pick out a band like, we're talking black metal here, so you can pick out a band like Past or the Inquisition or something, a band that sticks out because their sound is a little different, and you've heard, let's say 500 different black metal albums, so and you're into it, so you tend to be able to pick it apart. Then you realize there's a lot of bands that tend to sound very similar to each other, varying levels of quality. Some bands are better, some bands maybe not as good in terms of how tight they are with the production of the album, whatever. But maybe they all kind of sound similar. And then of course you get the bands who are just like, man, why'd they put out a CD even? But, I mean, there are some of those bands that exist, but there's a few that dare to take chances in every genre in metal as well that will make them sound a little different. And that's not necessarily always a good thing, but it's a start, So if they start with something just something different about them, if how they approach their songwriting, how their vocals are a big thing in black, what the kind of tempo variations are they doing in their songs to make it interesting. So for me, picking out the black metal bands that stuck out were picking out bands that I thought sounded well off the beaten path in certain ways or aspects. And so with black metal, that was one way to turn people on to some of that stuff, was find bands that were just absurd, and not the band absurd, but the bands are just ridiculous on surface. A band like Root, man, you listen to that and you hear the Big Boss's voice, you listen to their songs, you think, what in the hell what's wrong with this guy? This is just stupid. But it's not. It's bizarre, and it's art on a different level, man.
It's bizarrely genius.
Sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's not for everybody, So, but anyway, that there you go. Kind of again commenting on that, you find things that are a little bit different, stick out from some bands. Some bands just tread the same path, and that's fine too. There's got to be a lot of just bands just doing normal shit that doesn't sound different. Go ahead, man. You guys froze up on my screen here, so I'm waiting for it to catch up.
Okay. Well, and so in lieu of that, we've been talking about new music and different kinds of music. You've steered almost completely off the beaten path of thrash and metal per se, although your new project, Liquid Sound Company, which is really not a new project. I mean, you've been doing that since the 90s. Did we lose him?
Keep going.
Monkey Butt, did we lose him? Anyway, the new Liquid the Liquid Sound project, or Liquid Sound Company project, is a mixture of psychedelic and Black Sabbath and ambient and sitars. So it's bizarre, but it all seems to fit. And you can hear some of those old Solitude riffs in there. Now you can't hear any Rotting Corpse riffs, I'm afraid, but just the you can see the path that where the music came from, whence it came, and it's pretty interesting. And I have a vested interest in it because I did the last album cover for them, and it caused me to stretch way off the beaten path myself, because I mean, I've been doing swords and flaming skulls and crosses and whatever else, and that's great because that's stuff like this and whatever, and John wanted something completely 60s psychedelic, and so it stopped me down artistically and made me venture down a path that I didn't know if I was comfortable or not, but the project turned out great. And
the sign of a good artist is, and I'll prove this until we get him back, or I'll talk about this till we get him back if we're able to. The thing about JP that is just prolific and mind blowing about him is, oh hey, I was in a thrash band. It was fantastic. Oh hey, by the way, I was in a doom metal band, or whatever you want to call Solitude, and it was amazing. It's all just great stuff. And then, oh, by the way, now I'm going to do a psych band, and I'm not even a psych guy. I love thrash and I love doomy kind of metal, but you turn me on to Liquid Sound Company, I go listen to it, and oh, holy crap, just like everything else he has ever touched, it's just fantastic, top-notch quality recording, top-notch artwork. The songs are outstanding, and it's just very interesting music. I love it. I can't wait for it to come out.
Well, I think when you pigeonhole yourself into a certain anything, even if it's whether it's music or fashion or sports, or I mean, if you don't have like an open, like a full warehouse of opportunities, your life can be kind of boring. And I get ingrained in listening to certain types of music extensively, but I love. There he is again. Yes,
We are back.
We're back. We were just kind of briefly talking.
Sorry,
about,
I don't know what happened. We just lost it.
It's technology, man. We can put a man on the moon, but we can't talk to each other on a video screen. Weird. But we were talking about the diversity of the Liquid Sound projects, and maybe you can speak to that. But I told Rob that you can hear those influences from your past in particular. And how, I mean, we don't obviously hear Rotting Corpse in Liquid Sound too much, but the heaviness is there, and the idea is there, and some of the picking is there. So I don't know. It's like one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
And here we are in a psychedelic mountain, doing our thing. I was going to say something, but I'll keep it.
Well, yeah. So Liquid Sound Company, and I appreciate you guys bringing it up because it certainly is not a heavy metal project. But having said that, and I know we got a lot of Solitude Aeturnus fans and friends all over the world, and that's just that's mind blowing to me still. It's not lost on me that people go crazy for Solitude stuff overseas, here in the States, anywhere, and they send me really nice messages constantly. It's great. But right now I'm doing the Liquid Sound Company, and it's much not metal at all. However, on this new album, there's a couple of songs that are very much Solitude Aeturnus sounding to me. In fact, I almost didn't use them. But that to answer your question, which is, yeah, it's very diverse sound. The sound company is simply trying to. It's easy, dude. It's the same concept I did with Solitude. Walk into a record store. I wasn't in Solitude, and I walked into the store and they were playing that. Anything that we did, I'd go, holy shit, sign me up. Where can I buy this? This is what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Same thing with Liquid Sound Company. If I walk into a record store and they were playing some of the tracks we do, I'd say, fucking shit, this is the greatest band ever. I'll take it. So, no, but it, I mean,
it is pretty great.
I'm totally serious, but yeah, but no, you got to walk with confidence, man. If you think, yeah, hey, Rob, check out the new Liquid Sound. It's, it's okay, pretty cool. No, dude, you got to go. Hey, dude, check this out. It's mind-blowing LSD trip. You don't even have to take acid. If you don't like it, you've got the problem. But I'm here to help you fix it.
I love it.
But no, seriously, but thanks for asking about Liquid Sound Company, man. I appreciate it. It's very diverse music. Some of it is very heavy, actually. It's just me just to create all the cool I've been deeply ingrained in the music scene per se for as I remember. I mean, I got into both Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath at the same time, essentially, and Jefferson Airplane and Judas Priest at the same time. And I found both styles of music and approaches to music to be something I could connect with. The problem was as few people as there were, especially in the early '80s, that were I was trying to connect with that were into metal. Really difficult to find anybody that knew what underground metal was in 1981 or 2 or 3, 4, or even 5 for the most part. There were several years where no one was really into underground metal. You couldn't, it was like a mission to find people that shared your taste. But likewise with psychedelic music, except there was even less people into psych rock. So it was like this little secret fetish I had where, nobody knew about psych rock except me and whoever else I made listen to it at the time. But so then I just, went along with myself for years and collected the music, but never really shared it with very many people because nobody I knew was into it. Until later on, I met some really good friends that are share the same interest. And psychedelic music is an awesome form of music, by the way, because it encompasses so many different styles. You can go literally from a horrible sounding garage rock trip out stuff to complete blissful ambient type stuff. So I'm really into that stuff at the moment right now. Still love my metal, of course. I mean, you guys know that, but at this time it's more of a listening and catching up on all the old metal stuff that we grew up listening to and listened to on a regular basis in the 80s. Right now I'm on an absolute kick for going through the discography. I've listened to every single thing they've done, and right now past Tara now. So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I think I rambled on, of course, but there you go about the diversity of Liquid Sound Company and why it is that way.
That's what we wanted. And hey, catch us up now. Forgive me for not knowing this. Is the Liquid Sound Company record out, or it's about to be out, or where are you in the process?
Well, first off, you are forgiven. Second, is no, it's not. It comes out soon. I don't know when. It's
as soon as that guy gets your album,
it's done finally. It took us just. I don't even tell you how long it took me to. Yeah, it took forever, but it'll be out soon, man. I don't know exactly when, because that takes money to press it up. We'd like to press it on vinyl first. I'd like to make a few videos for some of the songs because people are really connecting visually with music at this point, and I think that's important. So I'd like to create some videos for it before we put it out there. I think it's a really strong record. I'm really, really, really happy with it, and I think a lot of people are going to really like this a lot, even non-metal fans. You know, man does not live on metal alone, just like bread. Man does not live on bread alone. You got to spice it up a little bit. When you're done destroying and conquering and bulldozing, you can trip out at the end of the night and chill out a little bit with the Liquid Sound.
That's right.
Perfect.
I'm a believer. I'm a believer in the Liquid Sound Company.
So what was the first record you ever bought? Your own money.
Wait for the lags. Yeah.
What was the first record you ever bought with your own money?
Johnny boy, you guys. Wow. Well, I don't know that. I do know the first record that I ever chose for myself, and my mom would buy us records back in the early 70s. You can pick out one record, son, 45 single. And so my brother and I don't even think my sister was old enough, but the first record I ever bought with my own thought about it, without not my own money, thought about it was Steve Miller, The Joker's 45.
Cool.
I just remember that. As far as records with my own money, man, I can't remember that, man. I cannot remember. It could have been Black Sabbath, Never Say Die. But it was probably more like something Ted Nugent's debut or a Foreigner record. I don't remember. It would have been like in 77 or something. I had a paper route in 1978. When I had a paper route, that's when hang on just a second, guys. Yes? Okay. But anyway, I don't remember the first record I bought. It would have been some late 70s hard rock record probably. I didn't get... when I first started making money, I guess officially when I had a paper route, and that would have been 7th grade, like between 7th, yeah, like so it would have been like 1978, and that's when I first started earning my own money. And fortunately, my parents didn't, make me pay any money for anything, so every dime that I made on my paper route money went right to buying records. It was, and it was nonstop for years. I mean, just every piece of cash I had went to buying records, everything. So I don't remember which was the first though.
When did you pick up the guitar and say, hey, this is kind of cool, I'd like to start playing guitar, or maybe even be in a band?
Well, I can remember the moment that it kind of just hit. Well, I can remember the specific moment that I thought I needed to start playing rock guitar, because prior to that, I'd been taking piano lessons for about 3.5 years, and you just learn classical stuff on piano. So I was, I learned a lot of that, and I'm grateful for that, and that gave me a solid musical background to bounce off of, and also be a bit more snobby with my musical taste later on, because I had classical music in my way far background, you know. But I can remember just getting bored with learning, you know, Beethoven pieces and stuff, and I never moved on to the harder ones. But the simple classical pieces you're taught, you know, in beginner and intermediate level piano, I got bored of that, and I just wanted to play guitar. And I think the defining moment came when, and this would have been 1978 probably, yeah, right around there. And I saw Jimi Hendrix on TV, and it was the Monterey Pop performance. And if anyone has seen that, you know, you can't forget it. Nowadays, that stuff's kind of tame by comparison, but you know, in the 70s, when you saw Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar after playing a completely noise-filled song and set, you know, he lit his guitar on fire and was, you know, making love to it or whatever, and then picked it up and smashed it into his amps while the other guys were going berserk. I saw that and I said, man, that's how you play guitar, you know. That's me. I'm in, man. I want to get on stage and go ape shit crazy. So that's how you play guitar, you know. And so it was probably Hendrix, man. You know, just seeing him is what made me just go, fuck, you know. I got to do something with this. So I told Dad I wanted to quit piano and play guitar, and that's it. You know, started learning how. But you know, it was a very long process trying to figure out how to play guitar well. I didn't really have any teachers, and nobody told me about distortion or anything. So it was a long road, you know, to getting better on guitar. But for certain, I think it was Hendrix, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
That is awesome, man. I appreciate you being on with us today, brother. It's good to see you.
Well, thanks, man. Sorry if I talk too much. I tend to do that, I think, sometimes. But thank you for having me.
We could do many, many more episodes with you, brother.
Thanks for being on, John. Yeah, no, that was perfect. So we do this thing at the very end where as we're exiting the room, we say metal will prevail, and then we flash the horn. So that's kind of what we do at the end. So you're ready to do that? Can you, even with the delay, can you get ready to do that?
I will succumb to flashing the horns one more time.
Or you can wait. I know that you like to
that wait. Got ridiculous.
Yeah, you can.
Well, that got ridiculous.
Whatever.
You know, photo 130 out of all those waves was like, I look ridiculous. But anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. It is way overdue. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we really appreciate it so much. And Carcass, with that, until next time,
metal
will
prevail.
Prevail. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.